In this video, I will discuss why I think 2016 was Drake's toughest year. Now, I'm not stating this as a concrete fact, but I will give some reasons as to why I think so. It felt like every week there was someone going at Drake or there was something to be said about him. I am sure everyone remembers 2015 as the majority of us hold the indelible memory of Drake vanquishing Meek Mill in the realm of hip hop and him notably dropping his mixtape, If You're Reading This Is Too Late, and his collab album with Future, What a Time to Be Alive. But going into 2016, I was starting to notice that the ghostwriting accusations didn't really settle down. They became incessant. Every time someone would mention a Drake song or when Drake released a song, there would always be someone to retort, did he even write that, or that was his ghostwriter. I can only imagine how deeply frustrating this was for Drake. People are now questioning his entire discography. All Drake's feats in music were now being questioned over some accusations and reference tracks that had no solid context to them. People that loathed Drake finally had something to hang over him. People never really had anything solid when it came to Drake. The critiques that I would often hear were, he's a pop star, he sings, he's not street. And those critiques never really stuck. Drake was able to make good rap songs and R&B songs. So the whole thing of him being a pop star, him singing, or him not being street was just like, who cares? But to me, those reference tracks were the first real chink in Drake's armor. I'm kind of adamant that the whole ghostwriting spectacle bothered Drake. In his song Lose You, which was released in 2017, these lyrics gave me a slight inkling that he was irritated at how his credibility as a writer was being perceived. However, this wasn't something that Drake could just brush off because the release of the reference tracks was something that was quite extraordinary and not just unprecedented in hip-hop, but in music. Despite Drake coming out victorious with Back to Back, I do believe this took quite a toll on him as him and Meek were friends before their exchanges. Drake brought Meek on his Club Paradise tour and got on his Amen track. To add on to this, it would seem that Drake also fell out with Joe Budden and Kid Cudi within this year. Joe Budden would go on to make 4 diss tracks aimed at Drake after he believed Drake was taking shots at him on 4 p.m. in Calabasas. Kid Cudi tweeted which most believed to be shots at Drake, kind of discrediting him as a writer. From what I remember, at that specific time, people were saying that Cudi was jealous of Drake and Kanye because they had announced that they was working on a collab album. I'm not sure if that's the actual reason, but who knows. Drake had Meek Mill, Joe Budden and Kid Cudi on his radar, which is unfortunate considering he deemed them a friend once upon a time. Drake and Cudi both entered the music industry around the same time trying to establish themselves in their predominant genres, and Drake was also a big fan of Joe Budden's music. These lyrics on Do Not Disturb, which was released in 2017, really strengthens my conviction that these fallouts were kind of weighing on him to some degree. To add on to the feuds Drake was trying to manage, someone from his own country was leveling shots at him, Tory Lanez. This is another issue that Drake knew he had to deal with, making him have 4 individuals on his radar. Tory Lanez would undermine Drake by taking sly digs at him and remixing his summer hit Controller, and it seems that the consensus at the time preferred Tory's version over Drake's. If you have followed Drake, you would know that Nicki Minaj is someone who he deeply respects and admires. Alas, when Drake came out victorious over Meek, Nicki and Meek were dating and she would have to pick a side that in the end wasn't Drake's. The two have collaborated on songs such as Moment for Life, Up All Night and Make Me Proud. Drake seems to lament over the breakdown of their relationship on Keep the Family Close. I vividly remember 2016 and the anticipation for views. Though when the album was released, it was met with some pushback. Criticisms I often remember hearing was, there's not enough rapping, this album's just a pop album, there's too much singing. Compared to other albums like Take Care and Nothing Was the Same, which had their fair share of criticism, I remember Views being extremely criticised. If I remember correctly, people were trashing Popstar because of the Channing Tatum bar. People were calling him a culture vulture because of One Dance and Controller. People were saying the reason he isn't rapping on this album that much is because he doesn't have a ghostwriter. I'm not saying Drake is above criticism, of course not. But in this particular year, it felt like everyone was turning on him. And I think that stems from the whole ghostwriting issue. I think people might have lost some respect for Drake despite those rumors not being true. I know silence can be a powerful tool in dealing with certain, situations, but in this specific situation, I think some sort of explanation was needed. This is why I believe people started kind of throwing stones at Drake, because they were under the impression that all the songs that people loved and cherished were not even written by him. So I guess people felt comfortable enough to disparage him at any given moment. With Drake's radar glowing with hostile rappers, it would appear another rapper would arise on his radar, Pusha T. Drake and Pusha T have been going back and forth with Sublims for years, and Pusha T felt it was the right time to take aim at Drake on his song HGTV Freestyle, which would seem to point at the notion of Drake not writing his lyrics. That would add more fuel to the flame of Drake having ghostwriters or not writing his raps. I would like to make it known again that this is merely my opinion and nothing more. What I have previously mentioned are the reasons why I think 2016 was Drake's toughest year. From the incessant accusation of having ghostwriters, discrediting him at every turn, multiple rap beefs that he had to manage to maintain his reputation as an MC, the lack of communication with his dear and longtime friend Nicki Minaj, the hate Views got. I think all of this took quite a toll on him emotionally. I kind of get an inkling of this on his song Do Not Disturb when he raps, I was an angry youth when I was writing Views, and also the phone call or voicemail that was the outro for Can't Have Everything, where his mother Sandy consoles him about his woes, which I believe had a lot to do with what transpired partly in 2015 but mostly in 2016. In his song Sneaking featuring 21 Savage, he raps the lyrics, I still love it but I used to love it more. To me personally, that sounded like Drake was fed up of how he was being perceived and the constant discrediting of his musical input. People would not let these ghostwriting accusations go, and it seemed like he was being dissed from all angles. Even the likes of Vic Mensa had some words for Drake on his song Danger. But with all that being said, I believe Drake prevailed through it all with aplomb. Views was a commercial success, having 2 songs on the album that were smash hits that ran the summer of 2016, Controller and One Dance. Not to mention Hotline Bling, an album cut of Views, was another big hit of the year. He showed his prowess as an MC as he took aim at Pusha T, Tory Lanez, Meek Mill, Kid Cudi on his arguably infamous track 2 Birds One Stone. He sent shots down at Joe Budden on his bubbly no shopping verse. Some people might say, aren't you contradicting yourself by pointing out his feats within that year? And I say, not really. Every year for Drake is guaranteed some sort of success, whether he drops an album or he has a verse or song that's just, dominating music. My point is that, to me, this was the most challenging year, as there was a lot of things he had to contend with, and it would seem that he would be able to push through the adversity with just pure talent and determination. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.